Democrats win on health care, environment, women's rights, respect for but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did.
So Kamala Harris has just dropped what she calls her latest literary masterpiece, an autobiography that honestly feels more like a long list of reasons why she lost the election. And spoiler alert, accountability didn't even make the table of contents. Each chapter is full of carefully edited stories, dramatic self-pity, and that feel-good political fluff that sounds deep, until you actually read it again and realize it's just smoke and mirrors.
When they ask who has a better plan, Republicans crushing it on crime, immigration, wars, the economy, even corruption. Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are f***ing stupid.
Now, when people ask which party has a better plan, Republicans are leading on almost every major issue: crime, immigration, foreign policy, the economy, even corruption. Democrats, they only manage to edge out a win by 2 small points when it comes to respect for democracy. Maybe that's because, let's be honest, a lot of people still believe what they want to believe. And that's when our favorite anti-woke warrior, Bill Maher, steps in, armed with his signature sarcasm. Maher tore Kamala's excuses apart, showing her not as a bold leader, but as a confused politician pretending to be deep. Buckle up, this one stings.
Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me. 107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump.
Maher started by going straight for Kamala's book title, 107 Days. He said even the title was spin, the same poor me narrative about not having enough time. But Maher wasn't falling for it. He reminded everyone that Kamala had one of the biggest campaign budgets in history, and a media that treated her like political royalty. She also had about 75 million voters ready to support anything with a D next to ISO crying about only 107 days. That's not tragedy. That's comedy gold. Maher said out loud what so many people were already thinking. Kamala had every possible advantage and still managed to crash spectacularly.
In 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking, we'll call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even ask her to prom. America itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Poor Kamala. We made her the star of a rom-com and didn't even give her a gay best friend.
Kamala didn't just write a memoir. She wrote a full-blown political soap opera. In her book, she throws Joe Biden under the campaign bus, saying he didn't step aside soon enough for her to save democracy. She even hints at doubts about his mental sharpness, as oh much for loyalty, right? But Kamala doesn't stop there. She points fingers at America itself, suggesting the country wasn't ready for a woman president. Because why self-reflect when you can deflect? And just when you think she's done, she blames her failure on not getting her dream running mate, Pete Buttigieg. Classic Kamala move. When a mirror gets uncomfortable, find someone else to blame.
Kamala writes that on election night, when it was clear she'd lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President, for Christ's sake.
Now, this part is almost funny. Kamala actually blames one of her own aides for peeling the president's stickers off cupcakes before handing them out to voters. Yes, You heard that right, cupcakes. She says that tiny act of betrayal somehow helped sink her campaign. But the truth? The aide only did it because by then, everyone could see she'd already lost to Donald Trump. So now cupcakes have officially joined the list of political tragedies. Maher couldn't stop laughing. While the rest of us saw a collapsing campaign, Kamala saw a frosting conspiracy. You couldn't make this stuff up, but somehow she did.
Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and...
Here's the thing. The women of the DNC have spent years building an image of being unbreakable, fearless, and untouchable. Always strong, never emotional, never wrong. But it's all an act. It's not about authenticity. It's about appearance. Behind the perfect smiles and practiced speeches is a desperate need to prove they're tough enough for politics. They've confused empathy with weakness. And that's the irony. By trying so hard to look invincible, they end up looking robotic. Real strength isn't about pretending to be made of steel. It's about being real, honest, and human.
It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha.
So why did Bill Maher go after the View hosts? Well, here's the backstory. They started it, mocking him after he questioned their silence during the Jimmy Kimmel controversy. But Maher being Maher, he didn't let it slide. He called out their so-called bravery for what it really is, performance. When Kimmel got suspended and rumors swirled that The View might be next, those usually loud voices suddenly went quiet and no hot takes. No outrage, just silence. Then, as soon as Kimmel was cleared, boom, they were back to being loud again. Maher nailed it. Their courage only shows up when it's safe to be brave.
Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, no one silences us. No one had to. You silenced yourself. Whoopi Goldberg continued, did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. 5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point for me.
Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Ana Navarro have practically turned selective outrage into a career, that they're bold when it's popular, silent when it's risky, that they've spent years calling out others, using cancel culture like a weapon. But when that same mob comes to them, suddenly they're cautious, careful, diplomatic. They've seen what cancel culture can do because they helped create it. Now, in a twist of poetic justice, they're afraid of their own creation. And yet, even after seeing the damage, they keep feeding it. It's not subtle hypocrisy. It's Broadway-level performance, scripted and televised in HD.
The polling came out, and this is really, I'm speaking to the Democrats especially here, because Trump's numbers are down. They're down with Latinos, they're down with blacks, they're down 15 points with whites. And when whites say, you're not hip anymore, ooh. And yet, in the other poll, on issues, Trump still winning. So this is your big opportunity, Democrats. He's down in the numbers, and you still can't score.
Meanwhile, the Democratic National Committee just can't get together. The list of problems reads like a bad sequel. No strong leader, no message that connects, and no real plan. They're stuck in an echo chamber, still dancing to the tune of the far left friend. It's like a political greenhouse. Ideas grow in isolation, and any disagreement gets crushed. And now Kamala's added to the mess, throwing her own party under the bus, instead of taking responsibility for one of the biggest campaign flops. In DNC history, she's rewriting the story and blaming everyone else that's dysfunction dressed up as leadership, and Democrats are paying the price.
Democrats win by 2 points on respect for democracy. Now, some of this is just because people are stupid. 2 points on respect for democracy. Democrats win on health care, environment, women's rights, respect for democracy. But on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy.
Sure, Donald Trump's popularity might have dipped a little, but honestly, who's surprised? Keeping that kind of energy after a massive political comeback isn't easy. Still, despite the polls, Trump continues to dominate where it actually counts. Real issues on the economy. Voters still link him to lower prices and bigger paychecks down on the border. They believe he means business. And on the global stage, his America First message still hits home. He may not win a brunch popularity contest, but when it comes to results, Trump's still way ahead.
Democrats win on health care, environment, women's rights, respect for, but on those issues, I bet you that are the big ones that they vote on more: crime, immigration, wars, economy, corruption. So that's the takeaway there.
The only thing the Democratic Party stands for today is opposition to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I just read Kamala Harris's new book, 107
No,
Days.
you didn't.
I did?
No, you didn't.
I'd like to.
I'll say a lot of lies on this show, but I won't take that. I will not accept.
And that right there, that's the Democrats' entire playbook. Stop Trump, that's the slogan, the strategy, the obsession. IT worked when Joe Biden rode that wave to victory the first time. But when Kamala tried to repeat it, voters were done. They didn't want more outrage. They wanted leadership, solutions, and stability. Instead, they got recycled anger, empty slogans, and no real plans for the economy or the border. For years, Democrats built their identity around hating one man. Now that the outrage is fading, there's nothing left but an echo.
It's like a diary of what happened, but I was looking for, okay, and what's the plan for the future? There wasn't any, and she's just indicative of the party at large. And by the way, that's one of the reasons she lost.
Well, she's rewriting history in the book, too. She's now against men and women's sports. Like, come on. Like, they tried to dismantle Title IX against women when she was vice president.
Right. I mean, that's just one of many examples.
She could have had 701 days and would have still lost that race.
But you're right. The data says it's cost of living, it's inflation, it's immigration, illegal immigration,
Right.
all those things. Everything else is at the bottom.
And by the way,
law and order crime.
107 days, way too many for anybody, but including her.
Right.
But the more they got to know her, the less they liked her. I've said this many times on this show. Other countries don't do this. They don't have years to run.
And Maher was spot on. The more Americans saw of Kamala Harris, the less they liked. Can you blame them? The Hollywood endorsements, the stage photo ops, the awkward humor, it all felt fake. Behind the polished speeches and bright smiles, there was no real substance. Just nervous laughter, dodged questions, and no clear answers. Voters wanted something genuine. Instead, they got a campaign built on image. Maher didn't need to destroy her. She did that herself by proving there was nothing authentic behind the act.